Now, please welcome Haley Menkes, Vice Chair of the Sol de Janeiro Foundation, along with Foreign Policies of Fua Ose, for a conversation on building a business for women by women.
Hello, everyone. Hello. We have had a fantastic conversation thus far. We've talked about women's leadership in politics, grassroots, philanthropy, civil society, and I'm excited to take it to the beauty industry, which is a nearly $1 trillion industry, which is driven by women's spending. And I'm excited to have Haley from Sol de Janeiro here with us today. And my first question is, can you tell us a little bit about the brand and why you all wanted to be a part of this conversation?
Sure. So I'm super happy to be here. Really pleased to see all of you. And I've been so inspired so far today, so I'm just thrilled. Sol de Janeiro is a very new brand. We're a baby, so the brand was born almost 10 years ago. And when I started working with the brand, we were just a teeny tiny startup. I was employee number 12, and it was wild and really fun. As we've grown, we have become kind of big, which has been really exciting. And it has allowed us to move money in a different way. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But what Sol de Janeiro is all about, it is a female-founded business that saw a gap in the beauty industry, and not a white space gap that all of our corporate friends are looking for to, take a slice of the pie. It was really that the beauty industry, all over the world, most brands, is you have a flaw, let us fix it. You have a flaw, let us fix it. And our founder was living in Brazil and was pregnant and went to the beach and was, if you've ever had the pleasure of being on the beaches of Rio, it's incredible. And I like to say everyone there is just a different kind of hot. It's incredibly diverse, and the confidence that comes off these people is palatable, and it's incredible. So all shapes, sizes, colors, everyone. Like, they are wearing the tiniest bikinis, and they are crushing it. And that confidence was what our founder wanted to bottle. She was like, I wish I could make women all over the world feel this way. And so Sol de Janeiro was born, and now we are available in, I don't even know how many countries around the world, a ton. You can find us almost everywhere, and it has allowed us to start the Sol de Janeiro Foundation, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
I mean, it's also available on your tables. So thank you so much to Sol de Janeiro for that.
It's pronounced boom boom, for the record.
Boom boom, okay? Well, now we know that for future reference. And companies today are under more and more pressure to say something, to do something around some of the biggest cultural issues and policy issues that the world is facing. And so when you think about the brand, when you think about the beauty and the skincare industry, what role do you think that companies can play when it comes to advancing social change and making social impact?
I'm a little more concerned about what brands aren't saying versus what they are saying. The consumer goods industry is a little mysterious to most consumers, and that is not by accident. So the lack of the kind of information that I think consumers, if they were aware of, would make a real impact on their purchasing decisions is either too complicated to find or just simply not available. And what I'm talking about here is the supply chain. So I know you probably thought it was going to be lots of smiles and smelly creams and a lot of fun, but I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about supply chain. So the supply chain of the ingredients that are in your products, that are in your food, is incredibly complex. And the regulation around what brands can and cannot say is pretty loose. So the incredible equity gap that exists because of this powerful thing we call capitalism is something that we all kind of brush under the rug and we don't think about because we don't talk about. So at Sol de Janeiro, we are working to be truth tellers. We are not going to say what is on your table is sustainable. It isn't. We're not doing well enough. We have a lot of plans to get there, and I'm incredibly proud of the work we've done so far, but in no way, shape, or form is what on your table is it a sustainable product. I'm gonna leave it there because I like the effect.
That was powerful. Okay, so can you talk us through what efforts has the brand taken towards better understanding its supply chain, to empowering women farmers, and really getting a hold of how to get to that goal that you're trying to get to with sustainable sourcing?
Yeah, there's a term called traceability that is very much lacking for a lot of brands. So a lot of the brands that you use and eat and whatever every day, they don't own their entire supply chain. It's nearly impossible to do that. So you might think there's, 3 steps between an olive tree and olive oil, but there might be 10, there might be 20, there might be 30. This incredible complexity makes it really difficult for brands, even when they make an effort, to understand where their ingredients are all coming from. That opens up the potential for ethical issues along the supply chain. Women are over 50% of agricultural workers all over the world. They own or operate less than 20% of the land. Supply chain issues are women's issues. And so the efforts we're putting in place are to be very transparent about the sourcing and tracing of our ingredients. So we have developed a team, and we're so grateful to our amazing female CEO for putting money and effort into this. We have developed a team that our entire responsibility, or their entire responsibility, is to follow our ingredients through those 20, 30, 50 steps all the way back to the land. So I'm going to give an example. Think about your favorite protein bar, because we're all trying to get jacked and it's sick. That protein bar contains palm oil. Palm oil is what makes it melt in your mouth and not melt in your hand. Most palm all over the world, and palm is in almost everything, guys. Most palm from all over the world comes from Southeast Asia. I think consumers would feel differently about eating that protein bar if they understood that it's a high potential that that land used to be indigenous land and it was stolen and changed. That it's monocropping and having a really negative impact on the land, water, and air for the surrounding community. The farmhands are being dramatically underpaid, and there still exists the gender wage gap even at those really menial salaries. Women are still making 80 cents on the dollar versus their male counterparts. The other issue women experience, which it's almost like you guys did this on purpose, is a really good link to the previous speakers. One of the toughest areas for women in agriculture is that they can't get access to the type of financing that would allow them to upskill their areas, their farms, their cultivations. So most women in economically depressed areas of the world are hand-picking everything because they don't have access to financing that would allow them to have post-harvest tools that would increase their yields by 20 to 30%, and just that change could take 45 million people a year out of food insecurity. Because women, as many people have mentioned up till now, when women are successful, they use that success to lift their families and thus their communities. So it makes a huge chain reaction type of difference.
So what does success look like for Sol de Janeiro as it relates to traceability? How would you know that you got it right when it came to sustainable sourcing?
I love this question because I'm never going to be happy. This is a very long journey. Changing the tides of capitalism is a challenge. However, I am absolutely 100% certain that it's going to be women-led businesses that can actually do it. So success will look like understanding and being happy with our supply chain. We're talking lots of years of lots of people doing a lot of work, which is why we have developed another arm, because there is no time. We've developed another arm, which is where I come from and why I'm here, which is the Sol de Janeiro Foundation. That foundation is intended to do faster action that we're not able to do in the supply chain because it takes so long to move those huge ships. And we can use philanthropy as our catalyst to very quick effect.
And our previous panel talked about moving money, making it catalytic. So what are you excited about that the foundation will be able to do? And what are some of the key areas that you mentioned in supply chain, with women farmers, with biodiversity, that the foundation is going to really be able to make a change with?
Yeah, so the foundation is brand new. It has just launched, and we are really, really excited because we are focused on two areas. The first is women and girls, and the second is biodiversity. So I won't talk a lot about biodiversity today, but if you want to chat about it later, you know where I am. So in our women and girls pillar, we are focused on access. Access to healthcare, access to education, access to economic growth. And because we can deploy funding to amazing nonprofits all over the world, because we can deploy funding faster than we can make changes in our supply chain, we're using it as a way to do our part sooner. We really strongly feel that we have a responsibility to change the way things are done. And through our foundation, we have the possibility of affecting lives a lot sooner in a situation where it's kind of always an emergency. However, the foundation has sort of two halves. The first are the funds we donate in the form of grants, and the second is a fund we're working on growing and hope to grow it very quickly, which is an investment fund. And that is our opportunity to invest in female-led businesses and sustainable businesses all over the world, but with a real focus on the global south. That will allow us to not only fund nonprofits, but fund these startup businesses or these small-scale businesses that are actually making economic difference for women and communities.
And when we think about corporate impact, it happens along a variety of dimensions, and we've talked a lot about external. So as we wind down, I want to talk about internally as a company. You were employee number 12. This company is now large, it's been acquired. What have you learned personally about how a company can run to deliver impact for its customers, but also for its employees and team members as well?
Yeah, I mean, I say all the time that if a brand like this, if you have an opportunity, check out our Instagram or look at our website. I often say if there was a brand like this in the 90s, I probably would have had a much less complicated relationship with my body growing up. So we are absolutely, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, there shouldn't even be a question. Like for us, it's not even a question. There are women and individuals of all shapes and sizes, colors, abilities, whatever, who are different kinds of hots. And we celebrate that. So you see that in our advertising, but you also see it in our organization. Diversity isn't something we strive for. For us, it's not a question. And obviously, the beauty industry has largely female clients. It's really female money that runs this industry. And the beauty industry has probably the most obvious glass ceiling of any industry in the world, because it is basically all women. It's like 90% women until you get to the top, and then it's all Caucasian men. It's a stark difference. It's slowly changing, but in my opinion, not fast enough. But I am so thrilled to work for a female-led business. She was our founder, she remains our CEO. And she had this kind of dream when she was younger. She was working in banking, she worked in the beauty industry, and she was like, what are all these men doing here? Seriously, like what are all these men doing here? I want to be one. I want to be up there, I want to be one of them, and she crushed it. So something that is really inspiring about our leader, her name's Healy Yang, is she is unbelievably confident, like man-level confidence. And that distills its way through the organization in such a way, again, that people mentioned earlier, in such a way that women are empowered and inspired to take risks, to do something different, to speak out. And you know, we're an organization that went from 12 to 400 and only continuing to grow. And hopefully we can be that role model, that catalyst. We are currently the #1 beauty brand in the prestige industry in the US. Like, people look up to us at this point. Oh, thank you. People look up to us at this point. People are copying us at this point. So let's give them something to copy. Copy our philanthropic efforts. Copy the way our business runs. Like, we are all on the same team, even though we're competitive brands. Like, let's change the way products get onto the shelf such that capitalism isn't exclusively built on the exploitation of economically depressed countries.
Thank you so much, Haley. That was fantastic. Thank you for sharing your insights and your background. Closing statement. This evening, we're going to be enjoying our products. We're going to be lathering up. Do you have a mantra? Is there a